Hello there. My name's Carol Balcom. I'm a community volunteer in Denver, and I volunteer at the administrative offices of Hope Communities. I've been doing that for about 4 years. I am here today to tell you about two books that are favorites of mine, one of them in particular, but they're both really good books. They're both available at the Denver Public Library. The first one is called Plainsong by a gentleman named Kent Haroof. Kent has passed on now. He wrote this book, Plainsong, as the first book of a trilogy, and he wrote this one, published this one in 1999, I think. It's the story of a fictional small town in Colorado called Holt, and it's interwoven stories of several families in that little town. It's a really sweet book. It was very, very popular when it came out, and it still continues to be read even today. Um, so there are several families I mentioned, and I'm going to tell you about a few of the characters and who they are. First, there's Tom Guthrie. Tom Guthrie is a history teacher, and his wife is becoming distant and more disturbed. She stays in her bedroom all the time. Maggie is another school teacher at the local school. Um, and I'll tell you more about Maggie in a minute. There's another character, a teenage girl. Her name is Victoria. She's a student of Tom's in high school. Victoria finds out she's pregnant, and her mother is an alcoholic and throws her out of the house. So Maggie takes on the job of taking care of Victoria until, for various reasons, Victoria, there's nothing wrong with Maggie. She's a wonderful woman. But for various reasons, Victoria doesn't want to live in Maggie's house anymore. And so there are these two gentlemen they're brothers, who live on a farm. Their names are Raymond and Harold McPheron. So they're bachelor farmers. And Maggie convinces them, even though they're very reluctant, she convinces them to let Victoria live with them on their farm because she thinks that some of the farm tasks and just living in that environment would be good for the girl while she continues with her pregnancy and then has her baby. So it's just a wonderfully written story, and I think you'd enjoy it. And as I say, it's available at the Denver Public Library. It's on audio also, so you can listen to it if you don't want to sit and read the book. So that's my first recommendation for you. The second one, now, I'm over 70 years old and I've read a lot of books, and my mind just doesn't retain even the really good ones. I can't remember the titles, or I can't remember what the books were about. This book, I will never forget the title, the author, or the book itself. It's one of the best books I've ever read, and it's called The Known World by Edward P. Jones. It is a book, it was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. I think I said it came out in 2003. It was the first novel that Jones had ever written. It took him 10 years of research into slavery and the South and probably lots of other things before he wrote this book, and he just sat down and drafted it in 3 months' time. It is a remarkable book. So I mentioned that it is about slavery. Let's see what it says on the back. It says, it tells the story of Henry Townsend, a black farmer and former slave who falls under the tutelage of William Robbins, who's a white man, the most powerful man in Manchester County, Virginia. And things go on from there. This is sort of like, if you've ever read Faulkner, it's sort of like that in the sense that it has all of these characters. So luckily, in the back of the book, I'm not going to try to show you this, but there are 2 pages in small type of all of the characters, but also their relationships to one another. So if you get lost, you could go back and remind yourself of what the relationship was of one of these characters to another one. It is just a beautifully written, fine book. And I finished this book, and I was so moved by it that I gave it to my daughter, who was about 30 at the time, to read. She's been a high school teacher now for years, but back then she was about 30, and she said it was a remarkable novel. So she and I still talk about it. So I recommend The Known World by Edward P. Jones. And again, it's at the Denver Library also. And the first book I talked to you about was Plainsong by Kent Haruf. I hope you'll pick up one of these books, and I know you'll enjoy them if you do. All right. Bye.